President Cyril Ramaphosa has ordered a special task team to investigate corruption following recommendations in an interim Madlanga Commission report. The report calls for urgent criminal investigations into several senior SAPS and Ekurhuleni officials, including the KwaZulu-Natal Hawks head and senior organised crime and police leaders. Let's talk about all of this with independent crime and violence analyst Dr. Chris de Kock. Chris, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. I'd like your thoughts, just as an analyst who's been watching these developments, no doubt, about this announcement from the president, and just an interesting operational question on, I mean, Senona's only been giving his testimony over the last 3 days. So when would his inclusion then for further investigations have been added to that interim report, which we know was delivered to the president back in December?
Well, good morning to the viewers, and good morning to you, Iman. I really think that the reason why he was added and the names that was mentioned by the president or included in his list is based on the report that was already the interim report that the Malanga Commission have already given to the president. And his name, for example, although he only gave witness the past 3 days, evidence the past 3 days, his name was mentioned right from the beginning by General Mangwanazi, by everybody that gave evidence. He was mentioned. And if I listened to him the past 3 days, I think he's ready for investigation.
Let's talk about his evidence then, before we talk about the prospects for this particular task team to yield results. Given what we've already heard, his accounts of, for example, the theft of that massive consignment of drugs, 200 million rands worth at that Port Shepstone police station, would you go further and say that perhaps there is a prima facie case that could already be put against Senona? Based on his evidence so far, could charges already be put to him? And if so, what might that be?
Well, look, I always say for the last 3.5 months since I've listened to all of these evidence, that in the end, it have to be proved in court. It will have to stand the test of a court of law. But I mean, for example, and I will go to the Port Shepstone drug bust a bit later. The fact of the matter is, he could not actually answer questions about his friendship, as he called it, with his younger brother, his Boetie, in the 3 days. I mean, he was constantly asked about all the communication between him and a person which is clearly, I mean, he's in court now, have a prima facie case against him. And it seems he forget, like all the officers that have given us testimony up to now, that he forget about the famous case of the late Jackie Selebi, Commissioner or General Jackie Selebi. I mean, he was jailed because of his corrupt relationship with Mr. Angelotti. Here, this man, Major General Senona, actually came and he gave evidence that he is friends with Mr. Kat Malala, but he actually stayed friends right to the last. He said he tried to distance himself, but there's no evidence of that. Then when we come to the drugs, everybody was tested with a polygraph test after that drugs were stolen in one of 2 safes. But the people who came and stole that drugs went to the right safe. I mean, how there must be some inside information. But he's the only person who it didn't cross his mind to have himself tested with a polygraph test. I think he should have done it, and I think he should even still be tested, even now, when this new task team investigate his case.
I guess the reason I ask the question in that way is, and we'll talk about the proliferation of task teams in South Africa. I mean, there are dozens. at great extra cost to look into various aspects of malfeasance, whether it's around state capture or the PKTT, and I'll name a list a little bit later on, is that in his case, at the very least, and to see action happening, there might be a disciplinary case to be made against him insofar as the sharing of affidavits with Kat Matlala in terms of the evidence we heard at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. As you say, questions relating to his management of that particular scene insofar as the drug bust is concerned. So there could be, would you agree or would you disagree, Chris, that there are already some action that can be taken against Sonona based on what he's already told the Commission?
I actually think that the president, based on the report that he received from the Commission, all the names that is mentioned there, also the Ekurhuleni lot, I really think that there's so much evidence that it is now time to investigate. And I must say, and yesterday some of your commentators that you asked yesterday said this is history. This is actually basically a history in the sense that for the first time, different from the Zondo Commission and all the other commissions that we had, that the president comes and say, listen, while this commission is in action, these names can already be investigated. I also want to tell the viewers that there's a difference, because I get it on a daily basis. People say to me, yo, there's so many commissions, so many investigations, and nothing come from it. But there's a difference. The commission and the ad hoc committee in Cape Town, which I've tried to follow both of them as far as possible, both of them are commissions, if I can put it like that. People hear evidence from all of the people that they call, and then, as I've always said, it have to go to court. So this task team, which is now appointed by the president, or should be appointed by the National Commissioner, this is a task team like the I always struggle, the political
PKTT
killing task team. It's the same thing. So here now we are going to have a dedicated investigative team consisting of investigators, consisting of analysts, consisting of profilers and all of those things. And they are going to take case by case, open cases against these names. And then, and if that cases are court ready, these people are going to court. And if it stands in court, well, then we will see the orange uniforms.
I think what you're saying is that it is different because, and as Jeremy Vieri just said earlier on, unlike a task team with a blank slate, there's already evidence that exists that's been given under oath. So there is already something that this task team would be able to work with. And as you say, it counters the idea of what we've seen before, commissions and task teams where we don't really get the big fish. Are you suggesting that this time round we're going to see heads seriously roll?
I really think so. And this is actually answering the question of what many people have asked me in the past 3.5 months. But what is going to happen? This is just a waste of money. We hear all of these things, and clearly people are, well, that's what they say, are guilty here, but nothing is going to happen to them. I think this time things is going to happen to certain people.
So the new task team will report directly to the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola, who has also testified before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. From an independent standpoint, do you think, again, it will remove any doubts of any kind of interference, any kind of agenda setting in the way the task team does its work?
Yeah, well, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, but look, as the spokesperson of the president said yesterday on your channel, it's up to now, there is nothing that implicate the National Commissioner. I mean, he's still the National Commissioner. He gave evidence both at the ad hoc and at the Malanga Commission. But for now, we should accept that he is the leader. And he may even go and appoint a much more hands-on leader. And we hope that the team that is going to investigate all of this is going to be a trustworthy team.
Let's look at what's already in place, and this is to take that retrospective view and to address the people that come to you and say, but Dr. de Kock, you know, we're so sick and tired of another commission and another task team. I mean, we've got the economic infrastructure task team, we've got the PKTT, the political killings task team, the anti-corruption task team, the state capture implementation teams. I mean, there's a list. I can't even share all of them here now. That will take, you know, a bit of time. Looking retrospectively in terms of outcomes and impact, maybe just share with us, just high level, whether you think they've been effective or not. And I think the important thing is, as they've done their work, has there been evidence sharing? Because no doubt their work would have overlapped at various points. Maybe even certain characters who play in one space have been playing in another space in terms of economic benefit and tenders and things like that. How good have we done on the information sharing score? And again, just looking back high level at the effectiveness of these various task teams and commissions.
Well, you see, not much is known of the work of all of these task teams. There's also the one that work on the illegal gold mining or mining in general, on the Zamazamas. But not much is known of the other. The main one that we now know of the work and how successful they were and how it works is actually the political killings task team. That's why we are here. That's why this commission was founded and why the ad hoc committee was actually brought to be. The fact of the matter is that team, it seems, had quite a lot of success, although the minister and other people, or the minister who's on leave, try to say, nah, this task team should stop immediately, it's worth nothing. It's clear that they have discovered and investigate quite a bit. And that's why we are here, and we are now seeing this investigative task team that's going to be created on this issue. I must agree with you. I wonder how much they share information. Because what we are basically talking about here is organized crime in South Africa and the infiltration or the penetration of organized crime in our whole setup, in our economy, in our government, and these things are linked. I mean, the Zamazamas can't be totally divorced from the political killings task team's work, and especially the work that they have done here in Gauteng and the two syndicates which they have already revealed. These things are all linked. Organized crime work together. They have got the facade of legal business, but they are basically corrupt, and they do all kinds of things to make money. It's about greed. And so there is overlap. But I don't know how much information they share. Maybe there's a lot of mistrust between them and they won't share all of the information, but maybe this thing is starting to open up. I keep my information for myself. Maybe as an investigator, I will now share with other teams, all the other task teams. Also the one that looks at gangs in Cape Town, the one that look at the situation of the border in the northern KwaZulu-Natal.
Let's just hope, Dr. Chris de Kock, that this is a moment that signals South Africa's return to institutional health. As you say, we've got the SAPS and all of the enforcement structures there. Then you had the PKTT to look into political violence, but that uncovered a whole lot of networks there. Now we have the commission, which is looking into that. Now we have a task team on top of that. Let's just hope that we do return to the basics, a utopian setting where institutions just do what.
Good morning, my beautiful, loving subscriber and returning subscribers. You guys are the best. You guys are amazing. Welcome to today's episode. As they hot, you have seen it by yourself. At this point, I urge you all, if you have not liked, comment, or share this video, please do the needful so that it can circulate and get to others, and so that you can even return to it later. Wow, what a moment we just witnessed together. That genuine reaction, the sparkle in her eyes, captured exactly what so many South Africans are feeling right now. Because when leadership steps up, call for transparency. No one is above the law. In the fight against corruption, it gives us real hope. Yes, real hope. This isn't just about one corruption or one headline. It's about a country that has refused to stay silent. It's about believing that justice can still be won. If her reaction moves you, if you are also saying thumbs up for the real action on the Madlanga Commission finding, then let's make our voices count. Drop a thumbs up in the comments if you stand for accountability and a cleaner South Africa. Or tell me in one word, what does this moment spark in you today? Your comment could be the one that encourages someone who is watching with you right now. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Your presence here matters more than you know. Let's keep pushing for the South African we deserve together. Until next time, stay bold, stay hopeful, and keep that fire alive. See you soon. Bye for now.